Well, if someone approached us with a query about cyber abuse or online trolling, the first thing we would do is really look at what's involved. First of all, is there a criminal aspect? If we're looking at something that potentially has criminal implications, then we would suggest to our client that they contact the police and report that and see where that's going to go. Then for them going forward, we would probably take a look at how often it's occurred, in what circumstances, what the background is, why is this happening, has it been something that our client has done that has instigated this, is it completely out of the blue? These are some of the things we'd look at. What damage as well has been done to our client, whether that's personally, emotionally, or whether there is damage to their business or their company if they're part of an organisation, damage to their brand. Those are the sorts of things we'd look at. As a starting point, you would probably be looking at either having some sort of communication with the person that's carried out the trolling or the abuse. That would also depend on whether there's a criminal element, because if there is crime involved, then the person who has experienced that crime against them probably doesn't want to be talking to the individual. But depending on what's involved, particularly if there's an organisation that's been subjected to a lot of abuse online, there's the potential for them negotiating with the person who's carrying out the abuse to see what the issue is. Has the organisation done something that's damaged them that could be remedied? Is there a way around it without getting lawyers involved? And then once lawyers involved, you're maybe looking at, do we need to write a letter to the person who has carried out this trolling or abuse to explain that our client has been damaged in some way, and if this doesn't stop, further action will need to be taken. Or you could go straight to court as well and apply for some form of order to stop that carrying out any further.
So in terms of where the law is at, in terms of technology and social media, it is probably always playing catch up just by the nature of technology, because it evolves so quickly. And the law takes quite a long time to think about and to put in place. We talked about defamation a bit earlier, and within Scotland, the legislation hasn't been updated since about 1996. Jozanne, sorry, we were laughing about this earlier because we were only 5 years old last time it was updated. So it just shows you that it probably is quite outdated. Technology's changed massively since then. Don't think we even really had social media back in the 90s. I think technology does move at a much faster pace than the law does. I'm aware that the Scottish Law Commission is currently looking at the law of defamation. It's trying to update it with modern times and the way that we can now make statements online and via social media.
In terms of what the law can do, I suppose a celebrity or a person in the public interest needs to decide, do they really want to go down the route of either going, criminally looking to prosecute, or claiming against every single individual that makes a comment about them. We've talked about defamation already today, but there are defences to that, and people having discussion or a truth. Somebody can say, well, it's not defamation if it was the truth. Does a celebrity really want to then go in and dig out their whole life to look at the facts of whether something's a truth or not? And I suppose another thing we need to think about is, what do the public perceive when they see comments and these horrendous things that are said about celebrities? Do they believe them, or is everything taken with a pinch of salt? Well, that's somebody clearly likes being a troll, and that's obviously not truthful. Doesn't make it any easier for the individuals that are dealing with that, but it is potentially an area that the law needs to catch up a bit on, and could potentially give stronger rights to individuals.
I mean, I talked again earlier about how the current defamation law has been looked at to reform it, and that's something that the Scottish Law Commission has considered, is balancing up protecting individuals from damaging statements, but also the right to freedom of speech. So it does play in a part in that regard. You do have conflicting rights and obligations to think about.
And we do all have very different opinions as human beings, so it's difficult to say to someone, oh, you can't say that because that's not my opinion. That's obviously not how things are going to work. So yeah, I suppose that is quite interesting actually.